Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Histories Uncharted. I am your host, Shanna, and here with me, as always, is my amazing co-host, Cecilia.
Hello, everybody.
I hope everyone is excited for the holiday season, because we are.
Talking about Christmas treats today.
I just meant we're excited.
Oh, well, also we're super excited. But we're talking about Christmas treats today, and I'm super excited about that.
That's why we're so excited.
Oh my gosh. I'm like a puppy wagging her tail. This is the lighter side, but I'm sure you've got some like weird stuff in here. And I'm really excited about those too.
Yeah. Apparently when we were episode content plotting.
Yeah.
And we said cookies and treats, we wrote it down, and we both had a very excited look on our face. And then when we came back a few weeks later, it was very different results from what we both had thought. I did not do a lot of fun recipes with sugar and flour and sweet holiday kisses and bright. I found really weird, obscure things in the history of things, and yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
It's cool.
I don't think there's any belly splitters or disembowelment. This will be the first Christmas episode, probably the first episode ever.
Right.
Where we didn't kill anyone.
Ooh.
All right. I hope we're excited. And we're going to start off. It's super random, and I just jumped around. Normally, I try to have some sort of plots and themes to our stories, but...
No, whatever. I like randos.
Yeah. Try to move around the world and in time.
This is Christmas treats through the ages.
I did keep it to holiday. Christmas is a subjective term at times.
Correct.
Holiday.
Yeah. Throughout time, Christmas has not always been celebrated. And honestly, what we celebrate now is super different. So
yeah.
Winter delicacies.
Oh, look at that. Something to eat in the dark, cold nights.
Heck yeah.
Heck yeah. Put on those couple extra pounds to keep you alive through the cold season.
And not always sweet. Do we have some not so sweet?
I don't know. I think we'll see how much I go off the rails. We'll surprise ourselves later on.
Don't
stop looking ahead.
Okay, I'm going to stop looking ahead.
All right. We're going to start off with cookies. I think in our last episode of our 14 festive frights.
Mm-hmm.
It also released December 4th is National Cookie Day.
Heck yes.
So call out to that. Hope everyone got to eat some yummy cookies on the 4th and every day for the rest of the holidays.
Indeed.
So modern Christmas cookies can trace their history to recipes from medieval European biscuits, when many modern ingredients such as cinnamon, ginger, black pepper, almonds, and dried fruit were introduced into the West. The earliest examples of Christmas cookies in the United States were brought by the Dutch in the early 17th century. We started using cookie cutters as well, but these were often like super stylized and really patterned and intricate things, and then they would hang them on their Christmas tree as decorations, so they weren't like always to nosh on.
I absolutely love that. Some people that I knew, they put cookies on their Christmas tree.
That's a waste of a cookie.
They would bake them specifically. It was like gingerbread. They made gingerbread ornaments, and they put them on the tree like every year. It was
fun. And then they just throw them away at the end of each year?
No, they sometimes kept them. It was weird.
That's quite a collection you're going to get after a while.
And then when they would chip and break, they would like get rid of them.
Did you ever know anyone that hung popcorn?
We did.
Really?
Once upon a time. Yeah, I remember stringing popcorn as a young child.
Really?
Yes. Because my mom, she was creative. Let me do weird, fun things like that.
We always had pets that did not facilitate such shenanigans.
Ooh, yeah, we did have cats, but they never really...
Dogs. They'll bring the whole tree down.
Yeah, they will. For popcorn?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I could see that.
Yeah, my mom's family did, though, I believe.
Yeah.
But we always had to be very cognizant of the ornaments and all of the things because of our naughty dogs.
That's super fun.
Yeah. Okay, so in Canada and the United States since the 1930s, children have been leaving milk and cookies out for Santa on Christmas Eve. So it's not hundreds and hundreds of years traditions, but it is built upon traditions of children leaving treats like nuts in cakes, small cakes and stuff, and carrots for the reindeer. That is a very old and established tradition, which was super cute to find out.
And 1930s, that seems right around the time that, you know, these big advertisements of surrounding in the family home and traditions, like showing advertisements of families around like a Thanksgiving dinner or a Christmas dinner, showing Oreo cookies left out on the table for Santa Claus.
The Norman Rockwell image.
Yes. There you go.
Yes, that is going to be readdressed in our Christmas trivia episode coming up. I don't know if it's in part 1 or 2, but
we'll see.
We'll see.
I'm excited about that because that is a big...
That's more trivia than treats.
It is. But treats were involved in some of those advertisements. But that's fun. I'm excited to delve into that more in future episodes.
Yeah, because now we're going to talk about gingerbread.
Yeah, like the ornaments.
This is... more like the bread cake.
Okay.
It goes both ways, right? With gingerbread, it has those crunchy cookies, or it has the soft, squishy bread.
But you were also talking about like the test cakes, and that's how cookies kind of came about.
Oh,
the
right.
Histories of cookies, right? So maybe that hardened, that crispier, I don't know, is where building like gingerbread homes. But anyways, gingerbread sounds delightful.
This came again around the time of the Crusades, because we started going into these different parts of the world and going, oh my gosh, look at all of these delicious spices, and you put it into your food and all of a sudden it tastes amazing. So things like cinnamon, and I think I already listed ginger, things like that. So it was not until Queen Victoria and Prince Albert included a whole variety of other Christmas traditions that the gingerbread cookies became really associated with the Christmas time.
Right.
So it's a lot like pop culture establishing it, because that's really what the royals were, right? People followed the royals' fashions and foods. The rich and the elite set the trends of what everyone else is going to do, and the king and queen are definitely the top of the trend setters.
Right.
So they really linked that association of gingerbread to the holidays when they put it on their holiday table.
I totally dig that.
Yeah. They linked a couple, the Christmas tree, stuff like that we're going to get into. Apparently they made this really big Christmas production for the first time really ever. And this is a time when like the printing press is out, so images of these things got distributed and people were able to really see the lives of the royals and celebrate with them and, you know, stuff like that. So it was lots of fun. And, well, I mean, Tori, it was like pictures, not just printing press. Anyway,
was it pictures?
It was like pictures. Yeah, it's late 1800s.
Yeah.
They were pictures.
No, you're totally right.
Yeah, because I kind of got my dates in my brain. Sorry, people, we're only humans here with our cocktails going on. But I should put this fact in front of the other fact and read my dates right. Because Queen Elizabeth in the 1530s to 1603 is credited with making the first gingerbread man with a cookie cutter. She made little soldier guys with the gingerbread dough, and she was the first to make like the gingerbread dude.
Oh my goodness, for her little holiday spread.
Yes. And then 200 years after that, we have real pictures of Queen Victoria and Prince Albert with the Christmas tree and the gingerbread.
Yeah, because they lived in very different centuries.
That's going to be fun. Can you just cut all that out? Makes me look great. She said, no. Thanks, everyone. Enjoy. We're going to move on to, I'm going to say this wrong, as usual. You know, I was re-listening to an episode, Cecilia.
Okay.
And you said, you know what? I really enjoy listening to all of your mispronunciations and watching you squirm. And I went, when did she say that to me?
Why is she so mean? It is super fun. I'll swing it this one if you want me to. That was a really good lead up because
it doesn't look that bad, but
Fatigman.
Fatigue.
Fatigman. Is this
None of them
German,
sound right.
Irish, Welsh,
Swedish.
Low German, Swedish.
Swedish.
The Swedish term.
That's probably why we can't pronounce it.
I mean, Swedish are, they sound very similar to Americans on the outer end. They're like this weird, like Canadian Swedish, Canadian, I don't know. Canadian American. They're very kind sounding in how they deliver and live their life. Any Swedish person that I have ever met has been the most incredibly pleasant, kind person.
Aww.
Probably just because of being treated by like humans by their country. I don't know.
And they're just not jerk Americans.
I don't know.
But you hit with German. It has some original Low German origins.
Yeah, so fatiguement.
Yeah. What that word that we're doing so well pronouncing means is angel wings.
Angel wings.
This is a pastry that was flattened dough cut into small trapezoids. A slit is cut in the middle, and then one or both ends are pulled through the slit to form a knot. Okay. Some of these are on this list because I'm like, how do these instructions, like, they made my brain hurt. And I'm like, and then you knot them and you cut them and you tie them. All right.
And okay.
It's apparently a Swedish term for weak. So then they're deep fried in oil, and then they are sprinkled with powdered sugar and cinnamon. So they're like really flaky, wing-shaped doughs with cinnamon and sugar. And apparently they're just delicious. And they look delicious. They look like pie dough.
They look like they flipped them
right
in this weird, like...
Yeah.
They look like adorable little cookies.
They do. They look like little angel wings, but from trapezoids to cut, slit, pull, knot might not be on my table. Might be beyond me. You like a challenge.
It looks pretty high skill. I'll give it that.
Especially with pastry dough. Pastry dough is temperamental on the best of days.
So it looks like the equivalent of like what like a grandma would do. Like someone who has been alive for like ages and has been practicing the technique of this cookie. It looks like a mathematical equation. I'm not gonna lie, it looks really, really complicated, but they look so delightful and delicate.
Light and crispy. And I'm sure they taste delicious, and I bet you can buy them.
I bet you can. Because they're deep fried in oil and then covered in powdered sugar and cinnamon.
How is that not delicious?
I'm gonna walk away very hungry from this episode.
We'll see if they all sound as good. Okay, I'm gonna let you do this one, and I'll do the next one. You get to do...
You're the worst.
Go ahead.
Berner. Hassel, Nussel.
Buchen.
Hasselnussel, Buchen. Hasselnussel, Buchen.
Yeah. We apologize, Switzerland.
I'll cut out one of those three.
Leave them all.
Leave them all.
This is how the sausage is made, folks. I put this in because it sounded really yummy and it sounded weird and complex. I really like marzipan as well, and this is, but it's marzipan made with hazelnuts instead, and only just a little bit of almonds for like the body, and a little bit of sugar, some honey, some cinnamon, some candied lemon, orange peel, and then it's held together by an egg white. So there is no water. There is no flour. I think that makes it gluten-free. Forgive all my ignorance. And then the oil that's in the hazelnuts holds it together. But it requires extensive experience because if ground too hard, the hazelnut oils will liquefy and evaporate during baking, making it hard like concrete.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So it's like you have to have this secret sauce when it comes to grinding up those hazelnuts to get it just right.
Yeah, but it sounded
so delightful.
Yeah, but like a fruitcake without any flour. I don't know. It was interesting with all the candied peel and then the hazelnut. So it sounded interesting.
They're like Christmas cakes. So I wonder if it the hazelnut and the ground almonds would kind of give it just like that mealy. It would be the substitute for flour.
Yeah.
So it'd be almost like a nice like spongy.
I have no idea. That's why they're here.
Delightful.
And then there's a pizzelle. These are Italian waffle cookies, and these have flour, egg, sugar, butter. Anise, I'm not real fond of that, but you can also do vanilla or lemon zest, so I'm down with that. Okay, so they can go both ways, which I always appreciate in desserts.
Love
so
that.
they can be hard and crispy or soft and chewy. They can also be molded into different shapes, including like a cannoli.
Yum.
I know those are your favorites. So
I
threw that
do
in there.
love cannolis. They're a top tier dessert.
This, because we all know me, I had to throw it in there. It is one of the oldest cookies, as they think it was developed from an ancient Roman crustulum. An ancient recipe from Rome. Very similar to this. So that was kind of cool. So the cookie dough or batter is put into a pizzelle iron, which is kind of like a waffle iron, but it's specific to it. So originally it was held over like a hot burner or the fire, but today they're just electric models that you just plug in on your stovetop. Sometimes they have like really cool snowflake patterns, and then they turn into this thin brown cookie deliciousness that you can shape into things. Maybe fill with cream.
I wonder if that is part of like how we get like
Cannolis.
well, I mean cannolis, but also ice cream cones and
Oh,
things
yeah,
like
yeah.
that. It was like the early forms of that. That sounds absolutely yum.
Yeah.
I mean flour, egg, sugar, butter.
Right.
You're not really.
You can't go wrong. Can't go wrong. This is a big one in my family. Growing up, we are Finnish from Finland predominantly. We got a lot of German stuff in there too, but mostly we're Finnish. And so we do spritz cookies or the spritzabak. And it is really rich, short crust, real buttery. And then we smother them with frosting and sprinkles and put them in the shapes of Christmas trees.
Yum.
But they did not make this list because they are my family favorites. They made this list because the German root verb spritzen comes to mean to spurt. And I thought that was fun. That's it.
I mean that is that is kind of funny.
They are made by spurting or squeezing the dough out of a bag originally. We used a cookie gun.
We used a cookie gun too. It was
Yeah.
one of the few
I guess it's more...
yeah. My aunt was super into all of the Christmas goodies. My mom was into purchasing the can of spritz cookies in the tin.
Those are butter cookies.
Oh.
Yeah.
So delightful.
Our spritzes are covered with store-bought frosting. Dyed different colors and covered with sprinkles.
They are delightful. I'm a huge fan of just about anything covered in frosting.
As is my mother.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's a big frosting person.
Yeah.
I guess we'll just throw it in here. The Florentine, it's a sweet biscuit of nuts and fruit, typically like hazelnuts and almonds and candied cherries, and then they're mixed with sugar and then melted with butter and honey and then cooked in the oven. Sometimes you coat the bottom of them with chocolate, and then you put a really pretty wavy pattern in it with your tines of your fork. So it's like a nut crisp dipped in chocolate.
They are so delightful.
Yeah, I wish I could try one.
So good.
Yummy.
It's the chocolate that I really enjoy about it.
Hmm.
And usually the ones that I've had were dark. Like
Yeah,
dark
to go
chocolate
cut
ones.
through it. Yeah, yeah.
Because it's very sweet. Just
Normally you're cringing and crying, and now you're like, "Ugh."
give me
Don't
more.
get used to it. Don't get used to it, folks. Okay, we're going to go back to Zurich, Switzerland, and we're going to do a turgle. I'm sorry. Probably not, but that's what we're doing. Flour, honey, they're thin, hard, and sweet. Just how we like them. And these go all the way back to 1461. And they've even been manufactured there since. And they have these really, really elaborately carved wooden molds that have like different biblical themes or just Christmas themes or whatever. And then, okay, so this is just insane. The dough is pressed very thinly into these crazy ass molds, and it's baked at just like the craziest highest temperature ever. So it's 400 degrees Celsius Celsius or 752 Fahrenheit. And that seems insane.
So like an iron, like sandwiched in between in these molds and then shoved in, then baked?
No, they're pressed.
Just
I think they're pressed into a flat mold. And then you put
flour, honey,
press it into the mold. And then you
mold.
put it into this ridiculously high oven for 90 seconds. Boom. And then it takes a lot of practice to get this timing just right. And then, because they are hard and dry, they are best when sucked on for a while, which allows the honey flavor to become more pronounced. On account of their elaborate ornamentation, these are often not eaten for months or years or never, and just kept as decorations.
That's really interesting. Well, I mean, that elaborate design, I imagine it's like this awesome, beautiful design. When you actually pull it off, it looks really cool.
It does. They're very, very pretty. And then they're like little squares with these little plaits, and then they just hang them up.
That's so fun.
Yeah. You suck on them for months.
Yummy.
Leading into, we're jumping across the world a little bit, and we're going to go to Japan.
Ooh.
Unagi pie. These are cookies made with fresh butter, crushed eel bones, eel extract, and garlic.
Yeah.
This is a crispy biscuit with a shape reminiscent of the supple form of an eel, which is what the pastry looks like. The supple form of an eel. For true authenticity, extract from the heads and bones of eels is kneaded into the batter. It is also known for its suggestive catchphrase, the ideal evening snack. This plays on the fish's reputation of boosting stamina, if you know what I mean. So this is the good time cookie.
I love that. The Japanese are so creative.
You should give that to Santa so he can go home and have a good night with Mrs. Claus.
Little unagi pie. That is fun and resourceful. The heads and bones of the eels, I just dig that, you know.
Eel cookies. Yeah. Oh, sugar cookies. And we're just going to come back to that. Sometimes they're called Amish sugar cookies or Nazareth cookies because these are brought to America by these Protestants from Bavaria called the Moravians, and they settled in Pennsylvania in this area called Nazareth, Pennsylvania, and because of that, Pennsylvania has made the sugar cookie the state cookie in 2001.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah, just like, was it Massachusetts has the Toll House chocolate chip cookie.
Nom nom.
Yeah.
One of my most favorite cookies to get high school, it became like a hyperfixation cookie. It was a sugar cookie about the size of my palm. It was like nicely sized, perfectly crackly. But they did the edges in the rainbow colored sprinkles. And it was just this perfectly cooked sugar cookie, kind of gooey in the middle, and it was a spot hitter. I sometimes still think about it, is all I'm going to say. It was part of a bakery of a chain store that no longer exists. Oh my God.
Terrified you were going to say those sugar cookies that have that layer of frosting, and then they're store-bought, when you bite into them, your teeth hurt, and your mouth is dyed whatever color of the frosting.
God, no.
They're always on end caps or in the middle of the aisles.
Absolutely delightful. They were absolutely fucking perfect.
They sound delicious. This is actually one of mine favorites. And as a lot of ways, I swing both ways on this too. So this is fun. This is mince pie, also known as mincemeat pie. This is popular in Australia and New Zealand as well.
Right.
It's a sweet pie of English origin, and it's filled with mincemeat. So this is a typical mixture of fruit and spices and suet. So suet is this really specific hard fat from mutton or beef or things like that. And it's found around the loins and the kidneys. It's a specific type of fat.
And
Suet.
I think that's why so many people associate mince pie with like mince meat, they think that it actually contains meat, but it's just the fat.
Oh no, sweet girl, it does contain meat.
It's the fat of it.
It is, but we're just going to keep on going here.
Okay. Well, I feel like modern day ones, like if you go into like an English
modern day
pub
ones are just
and you order
the
a
pansy
mincemeat
fruit.
pie, you're gonna get.
It is.
You're gonna get yum.
But the Brits,
But before,
in all their glory, felt that one convenient package for all their flavor profiles in one bite is the way to go. And then smear it with some puff pastry and some gravy. Good.
I don't think they're wrong.
I know.
At all. I dig the sweet and savory, guys.
And this mincemeat delectable deliciousness can be traced all the way back to the 13th century when, again, what? European crusaders brought back all of those really fun spices and deliciousness. Also, so they started, like, considering it like Christian symbolism of representing the gifts that were delivered to Jesus by the three wise men, because that was like the cinnamon and the spices and stuff. So mince pies became attached at Christmas time, and then they were traditionally shaped in an oblong shape to resemble the manger, and then they're topped with depictions of the Christ child.
I remember seeing old-timey Norman Rockwell advertisements of oblong pies and stuff.
Yes, they were. And then in a fun fact, the crust of a pie in an Old English cookbook is generally called the coffin. Whoa! Because it holds all the delicious dead things. I don't know why, but I love it. It's
love
shaped
that.
like a coffin.
Let's coffin this up, yo.
Yeah.
That's it. I'm stealing it.
We're still not done with mincemeat pies.
I want little coffin molds, like little coffin
that would be delicious.
pie molds. That would be fabulous.
We can make little handheld pies.
Listen here, guys. Nail in the coffin. All right, more. Give me more.
Tudor England, they called them shrid pies. I don't know. Probably because they're from shredded meat, suet, and dried fruit. 1615 recipe recommends the leg of mutton and cutting the best of the flesh from the bone before adding the suet, pepper, salt, cloves, mace, currants, raisins, prunes, dates, and orange peel. Veal or beef or veal may be used. Sometimes goose. Sometimes beef tongue. Like, we're not going to discriminate what we're going to use here. So in North American recipes in 1854, there was chopped tongue, beef suet, bloomed raisins, currants, mace, cloves, nutmeg, brown sugar, apples, lemons, brandy, and orange peel. That just sounds so good.
I don't know. You know, it's totally giving me like Thanksgiving sandwich. You know, you got your meat and your deliciousness. You got a little slather of cranberry sauce, some stuffing, and like it just sounds like a bite of Thanksgiving, a bite of the holidays.
Yeah, I need that cranberry sauce all up in there with the meat.
They're
and then
not
puff pastry.
wrong.
They're not wrong at all.
I say Christmas leftovers.
Oh yeah, they're the best.
Do some hand pies.
So people started preparing the filling ahead of time, and in about the 1700s, and this is when we start getting these jars of these raisin-soaked brandy deliciousness that are sitting on the counter for months getting ready for this particular pie's filling. And because they started doing that in the jars, they added meat less and less and less because, you know, you can't have meat just chilling in a jar on the shelf.
I guess.
So it's originally a Christmas pie, but the Puritans did not celebrate Christmas. So we decided to move it to the American holiday of Thanksgiving.
That's fair.
Yeah, so we have a lot of mincemeat pies around the holidays, but nowadays they're apples, raisins, spices, and not typically with the beef.
Yeah, we super go sweet.
Yeah.
When it comes to pies in general. Like we do like
quiche. That's
pot pies and stuff.
Oh yeah.
Like chicken pot pies and pork pot pies and whatnot.
They're my husband's favorite. He loves a good pot pie.
I agree.
It's puff pastry. It gets me every time.
It's just delightful.
Christmas pudding. So Americans think of pudding as like the thick, jello-y consistency pudding.
Right.
But the rest of the world, much like football, soccer controversies, call pudding a very
Human
delicious,
rights.
soft cake.
Adequate health care.
Sometimes it's like boiled or steamed or just a cake that's like heavily syruped or whatever. But generally, a Christmas pudding is still more of a cake than what we think of as pudding.
Or as Prue would say, a Christmas pud.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that sounds delightful. I was just watching their Christmas ones, and they did a microwaved Christmas pudding.
Yeah.
Instead of steamed. And it looked like it turned out mostly for most of them.
I know, there's always those one or two poor guys.
Her advice to them was, it works.
It works. So it has origins all the way back to a 1714 cookbook. Dried fruit, suet again, breadcrumbs, flour, eggs, spice, and then liquids such as milk or fortified wine. So it's like there's a lot of different variants. You make a dough pretty much with what you have on hand.
Yeah.
Is basically a lot of these. And then the term Christmas pudding was coined in 1845.
Yeah.
A lot of households have their own specific recipes for Christmas pudding, and then they're handed down from generation to generation. And sometimes they're either the what's around the house or that once a year we're going to spend the money and we're going to get the really good ingredients and the luxurious, yummy things for this special feast.
Right.
So, it's very dark. It's almost black in appearance due to its dark sugars and black treacle, which is molasses for us Americans. It also has a really long cooking time because most of the time it's like steamed or whatever.
Yeah.
It's also always served with like brandy or that vanilla, just delicious.
Simple syrup?
No, the creamy, like a frosting,
creme
but
anglaise.
Kinda, yeah. Words.
Like a cream on the
A
side.
cream. Oh, yeah, like a cream on the side. Cream sauce on the side. You know, sometimes you can use dark beers, stouts, porters.
Yeah.
All right.
Irish cream.
Oh, that'd be yummy. Super real traditional guys back in the days. Sometimes they were dried out on hooks for weeks prior to serving in order to enhance the flavor. And so apparently people still do this. So you make the cake and then like every day you go and see this one's getting dried out, but sometimes they pour more and more brandy into it and then it soaks in, and then like tomorrow they'll pour another bit of brandy into it and it soaks in. So either you're keeping it wet and getting it drunk, or you're kind of drying it out so that the flavors
It's like the frat boys watermelon.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That sounds absolutely delightful. Tell me more. And that's just what they do.
That's it, yeah. And then you unwrap it and you place it on a platter and you decorate it with a sprig of holly. Medieval England felt that the pudding should be made on the 25th Sunday after Trinity, that it be prepared with 13 ingredients to represent Christ and his 12 apostles, and that every family member stirs it in turn from east to west to honor the 3 wise men that went on their journey in that direction, and or so they could have good luck the next year.
That sounds a little pagan.
It very much was. Everyone was involved with the stirring and the making and the contributing to the family traditions and the making and preparation of the food.
I love that, though.
Yeah.
What a little tradition.
And then figgy pudding, which is literally a Christmas pudding or a soft, delicious steamed cake, sometimes with figs, sometimes not. It's just really honey and fruits and nuts, sometimes rum and alcohol. And this pops up around the 14th century. I love figgy pudding. I was raised by, I love you very much, Mom, a really crazy elementary school teacher that thought it would be lots of fun to try different British traditions and then Norwegian traditions. And, you know, she would teach Christmas around the world to her class, so we would try different recipes and things. So we would eat figgy pudding and different thing made by Americans that don't know what they're doing.
So like my grandparents, it seems like they just really bought into the American dream.
Most did, yeah.
Yeah. So there wasn't a lot of traditions that I had that was passed down to me. And I also wasn't raised super close next to any family outside of my Aunt Bobby, and she was just Christmas obsessed. But it was the
modern
decoration.
It
was the
Americanized
hope you're not listening, my Aunt Bobby. I love you so much. But it was having all of the decorations and that everything was to the nines.
I feel like I'm being judged as well at this moment.
I know.
How many Christmas trees can you see right now?
It reminds me of what, but I see your family in it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I see the history of it. My aunt was the QVC catalog.
Oh.
You know, and the perfectly set out. You know, she was done raising her babies. She got to have the show house home, and she wanted the show house Christmas, and it was intense. It was like glass top skating rinks with little skaters that were magnetized and skating around, and then like fake snow everywhere and the lights all underneath it, and next to like a display with the carousel that's rotating around, all of the lights flickering. Like every single inch of her whole entire life was just covered. Like she would put your house to shame.
That's saying a lot.
And it's saying a lot, but she would just do it. She loved that. My Aunt Bobby was Martha Heckin Stewart.
That's a lot of work.
It was, you know. She liked the show. That's a
lot of work.
Yeah.
I speak from one who knows.
Was a lot of work, but she just loved it. And her kids were grown, and she just got to live, you know. I mean, of course, this is coming through the eyes of a young kid with no responsibilities. Like her life was meant, and I had no concept of what that actually meant. So
now you're just like, man, that electric bill.
I know, right? I'm thinking about that, and I'm like, oh my golly, you know, the dust. But like, she just did it, and I loved going to her house for Christmas. I loved being able to see all of the different things, and she loved sharing it too. I don't know.
That's what makes it so special, and that is the tradition. It doesn't have to be 300 years old.
I guess not. Yeah,
it really doesn't.
Yeah, I guess not. But I definitely don't want to store that much Christmas. I don't want that much Christmas in my life. Yeah, I can't handle it.
I'll take that much Halloween.
Oh yeah, make
a big old haunted house every year. So this thing is controversial, and I'll tell you, I land on pro fruitcake. I'm just going to throw it out there. If it's made well, a cake with candied or dried fruits and nuts and spices. Sometimes it's spoked. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's spoked with spirits.
Soaked with spirits. And the earliest recipe is all the way from ancient Rome. It has pomegranate seeds and pine nuts and raisins, and then they were mixed into like this barley mash. Yummy. In the Middle Ages, honey and spices and preserved fruit. So it's just cake and fruit and dried nuts, and it's gotten a really bad rap.
Heck yeah, it is, because you gave it to Americans.
Who then began to destroy it as early as 1913 when we began to do mail order fruitcakes. Those could not have been good. So apparently, since 1995, Manitou Springs, Colorado has hosted the Great Fruitcake Toss on the first Saturday of every January. Apparently, they encourage the use of recycled fruitcakes. So that would be fun.
That's
a waste of fruitcake.
I don't know. Like, I know some families that had their tradition of like gifting the fruitcake,
like the same one or whatever.
Fruitcake, and fruitcakes are wild. They've got a wild, rich history.
Well, apparently in 2007, this group of Boeing engineers decided to break the world record and threw a fruitcake 1,420 feet using the Omega 380, which was an artillery piece fueled by compressed air and pumped by an exercise bike. So Boeing engineers hold the title for the furthest fruitcake toss.
That's pretty impressive, Boeing.
It sounds like it's more like potato gun shot than tossed.
Right?
You know what I mean? Apparently, if you put enough alcohol in that fruitcake, it can be preserved for many years. Baked in 1878, has been in the family in Michigan. As of 2019, the baker's great-great-granddaughter is the custodian of the cake.
That's hilarious. 1878.
Yeah, that family's been regifting that guy for a while.
That is quite the family tradition right there.
Yeah. Okay, so apparently in 2017, the Antarctic Heritage Trust found a really, really old 106-year-old fruit cake, and they described it as in excellent condition and almost edible.
Almost. I wonder what the almost is.
Except for that bit right there.
Like, what about it is almost edible?
What part of you would you think about eating of that 106-year-old? Yeah, I love the almost. This is a popular dish in Western European medieval cuisine. It's porridge. Man, they ate a lot of porridge back then.
Heck yeah.
Once I got too far back, it was all just porridge. So,
them grains, man, they just get you.
Yeah, so that's really just thick boiled grains. It derives from the Latin word frumentum, meaning grain. It was made with cracked wheat, boiled with milk or broth, and was, of course, a peasant staple.
Heck yeah. Savory grains, man. It's a vibe.
Yeah.
I've heard of some savory oatmeal recipes.
And it's super traditional in Celtic Christmas meals.
Heck yeah. I mean, it is the season. You really do not have access to fresh much.
Right.
So your grain-heavy meals, your carb-heavy meals.
Dried fruit, candied fruit, nuts.
Sitting around a fire, so there's going to be a lot of long boil meals.
A lot of time, a lot of prep time. And you got a lot of hands sitting around to do all like the breaking and crushing and all of the things. Yeah.
Because there's nowhere to go.
All right, so this is super, super popular, the king cake. Also known as a Three Kings cake. In many countries, this is celebrated in Epiphany, which is the three kings that made it all the way to go visit that little baby, and then made it on January 6th, which is Epiphany. This is the 12th night after Christmas. So they put a little figurine, often said to be the little baby, and they hide it inside. And then when you cut the cake, whoever gets the little kiddo wins a prize, or gets to open the presents first, or has good luck for the year, or whatever.
Right.
It is traditionally related to Roman Saturnalia, and these were typically festivals that are dedicated to the god Saturn. It's because the Roman people in general would celebrate that the days were getting shorter after the winter solstice and like coming back to warmth and growth and stuff like that. And then in the 20th century, Mardi Gras king cake became the thing. I think everyone's pretty much had a whole bunch of king cakes in their life.
Yeah, I think like it's also for some families like a baby tradition as well. Like for the
they have
showers
baby showers. Yeah, I've seen that. And then I've seen it like whoever gets the thing has to make the dessert next year or do the next thing or make the
tamales.
Next king cake. Yeah, whatever the thing is. So Stollen, this is still done today. This is more like a fruit bread, and it's got nuts and spices and dried and candied fruit. It's coated with powdered sugar, and it's often containing marzipan, one of my favorites.
It is delightful.
It is. So it's first mentioned all the way back in 1474, where there was actually a Stollen Fest that took part in Dresden, and it actually still takes place today. It is on the Saturday before the second Sunday in Advent. So good luck with that one.
For reals. And honestly, it should have its own festival.
It does.
It's delightful.
It is. And the city really does it right. So they make a really huge Stollen that weighs between 3 and 4 tons.
What?
This carriage takes the cake in a parade through the streets of the Christmas market. It is ceremoniously cut into pieces and then distributed among the crowd. And generally, like the tourists or crowd or whatever will leave donations to help pay for all of this. So they made this official grand Dresden Stollen knife.
Delightful.
Yeah, it's silver plated. It is longer than 5 feet. It weighs more than 26 pounds.
I love it.
Yeah.
That's the size of a small child.
So apparently in 1730 they made this really ornate one, but then it got lost. And so this is a recreation of the one that they had made then.
Okay.
And now it is still used to cut the ridiculously oversized stolons at the festivals each year. 2010 holds the record of the largest stolon ever baked. It was 237 feet long and was certified by the Guinness Book of World Records.
I'm absolutely in love with that.
Yeah.
I want to go to Stolen Fest.
That sounds delightful, and for just a couple quid, you too can enjoy.
So I feel like a European Christmas.
They do it better.
Jeebs, man.
Yeah.
I want to vibe there during that month.
Wouldn't that be
fun? Wonderful.
I bet it would be too.
Go see Downton, the castle. Just do it all. Just train around. Go visit Harry Potter.
Oh, that would be so cool.
I'm going to put that on our vision board. The Mongols would be proud. We need to put it on our vision board.
We will. But
we'll
first,
write it off as research.
It's a business expense. Mm-hmm. But first, unfortunately,
we will get there someday.
We got to talk about eggnog.
That's okay. I love eggnog.
I love eggnog as well.
It is my...
I believe in another episode you called it Christmas milk.
Christmas milk. Because that's when we have it. It's Christmas milk. It's magic. That's what we called it for Jack so that he would try it. Because I knew if he said eggnog, he'd be like,
no, it's eggs.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah. But we called it Christmas milk, and he was delighted to try it and enjoyed it.
Because it's delicious.
And then he was able to read. You little wank.
And he went, why does this say egg? What does this mean?
Yeah, and now half of my decoy it's gone. He can read now.
Yeah. It still does not take away from its deliciousness.
No, it does not.
I am the only person in my house that likes eggnog, so it's all for me. I don't have to share. Yay. I know no one likes it.
Everyone in my household loves it.
Because it's delicious.
It's like $6 for something to hang around for an afternoon because they're disgusting.
Cecilia lives with a horde of goblins.
They are monsters that I love desperately, but like they just eat me out of house and home. It's absolutely a fucking nightmare.
Yeah, it is.
You get creative. We eat a lot of soups. Anyways, eggnog. I want to talk about eggnog.
Okay, so this is an early medieval British drink, and it's originally called posset. Mm-hmm. It's made with hot milk that's curdled with wine or ale and then flavored with spices. Yummy. In the Middle Ages, posset was used as a cold and flu remedy, and by the 13th century, monks started adding eggs and figs, and that's when things started getting real.
That's wild. I don't appreciate the early origins of eggnog.
It's also originally called an egg flip, and this is just the funnest thing because it comes from the practice of flipping, which is rapidly pouring the mixture between two pitchers to mix it. So you don't stir it with anything, you pour it back and forth to mix it. So I thought that was really fun.
I'm glad it evolved, I guess.
Apparently the word eggnog might be another Americanism and invented in around 1765. And Chile has a ponche a la romana. I'm sorry. This is an eggnog style beverage made of champagne and pineapple flavored ice cream.
Oh, that sounds delightful.
I know. I threw that in there because I knew it would tempt you and I would get to try it.
Oh. You are far too clever. Damn it, Shanna.
This sounds amazing. I'll even learn how to say it correctly.
Like that might have to happen at a little brunchy brunch or something. It sounds so good.
Do we have to do champagne though? I don't like champagne. How do you do eggnog and pineapple? The whole thing is just weird. I was going to make you just go down that rabbit hole and figure it out for me.
Yeah. I would say that like maybe even a sparkling cider. Like a cider.
That would be a wonderful
pineapple.
replacement.
Yeah. Pineapple flavored ice cream.
This is going to be amazing.
Holy cowbells.
All right, so much better sounding than kissel. This is a simple dish. It has the consistency of a thick gel. And made with sweet fruit, berry, or grains like oatmeal or wheat, peas or milk. It belongs to the group of cold solidified desserts, although it can be served warm. Grain-based kissels are known for 9,000 years ago in ancient Anatolia and Mesopotamia, and they are actually mentioned in Sumerian and Akkadian texts. And this is super used today and looks solidified. And cold/warm.
Like akin to the Jell-O mold with like horrific, horrible treaties inside of it. Like that
peas.
vibe.
Yeah.
Like garnished with like piped mashed potato.
It goes sweet
sitting
and
in a
savory
pool
and
of gravy. Wow, that kissel sounds just...
So I'm really digging the French.
Moving on, guys.
The French sometimes get it right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Especially in Provence. So they have something that's called the 13 desserts. So this goes on Christmas. You have what's called the Big Supper. And I dig that. First of all.
I like it.
And then it ends with a ritual of 13 desserts, different desserts. And these represent Christ and his 12 apostles. So the desserts always number 13, but the actual whatever they are varies per tradition or what you have or what you like or whatever. So you just have your favorite 13 desserts. And then it's set out for 3 days. I don't know about
13
that.
desserts, 3-day time limit, guys. Get on it. Grab your spoons, everybody.
What about cheesecake? You can't leave cheesecake out for 3 days.
Well, that's when you
Don't make that dessert.
delegate accurately and
gets
you
to eat?
the perishables first. That's the plan of attack right there, Shanna.
Put down the
we
fudge
can
balls.
do this.
You need to eat the cheesecake.
We can do this.
I mean, that sounds like a plan. You know, like
This sounds like Thanksgiving at my mom's house, if I'm honest. It's a diabetes cake and pie fest. It really is. This sounds like the holiday tradition. I dig it.
I want these next ones. Strafoli. These are Italian, and they're known as honey balls.
Yeah.
It's deep fried balls of sweet dough, about the size of marbles. So then they're crunchy on the outside and then fluffy on the inside. And then they're mixed with honey and other sweet ingredients. And then you fold, so you take the millions of them and you, like a croquembouche, you mold them into rings or things like that. You build them into fun things.
But it's like a sweet dough, so it's kind of donut-y in texture as opposed to like a pâte choux
I
dough.
think it's crunchier because it says crunchy on the outside. And they were just little golden balls of deliciousness, but there were like a million, I couldn't imagine, a million marble-sized baby dough balls.
Into a mound or a ring.
Yeah.
That's fair.
It looked super yummy, though. I could probably smash a bunch of those.
With honey? Like,
yeah.
Sprinkle some pistachio in that, and I'm a happy lady.
That sounds
like
amazing.
Christmas. That sounds yum.
Yeah, it does. Okay, so I love to link things into things we've already discussed. So we're going to go back to St. Lucia.
Hey, girl.
Again. I think this is the 3rd or 4th time she's made a pop-up on our podcast. And these are a legit thing called a Lucia bun. So it's rich, spiced, yeast-leavened sweet bun that is flavored with saffron and contains dried fruit like currants and raisins, and it's similar to a tea cake.
So nice dense crumb.
Yeah.
I bet that is just delightful with all of those fruits just folded into that sweet, rich dough.
I'm not familiar with the flavor profile of saffron, though.
I'm not so sure that saffron is super punchy forward, other than it imparts just that golden color in everything that it touches. It just it's I would say the color
more than anything.
Yeah.
Hey, Cecilia,
what's that?
Do you like animal crackers?
I actually do. One of my fondest memories was getting the animal cracker box. I just thought it was the coolest. And
frosted or not frosted?
I would say I love both.
The pink and the white frosted guys.
But those are animal cookies, not animal crackers.
Okay. All right. There's the line, guys. Right there. Okay.
Sorry.
That's fair.
Those are my boundaries.
Well,
but animal crackers are yum.
They are.
Yeah.
Did you know that they were invented in 1902 by Nabisco?
I did not.
They were brought in around the Christmas time and are in those bright, really cool boxes with the strings because they were meant to hang on the tree as decoration. Yeah.
I absolutely love that.
Yeah, and then you can like walk by and nibble a cracker or cookie or whatever, and on the tree. Again, my dogs would literally destroy my living room to try to get those things if I had done that.
Yeah, I don't know. I really dug it. I thought it was a little purse.
Oh, yeah.
Super cute. And I would keep my coins in it, my little treasures. But I mean, of course, there was like a trash panda, so like everything ended up on the floor and destroyed. So.
As all children are. Don't take that personally. We're gonna go across the globe a bit to the Philippines.
Yes.
This is a very popular Filipino dessert called puto bombong. I'm sure I'm saying it wrong. I'm sorry. These are purple rice cakes steamed in bamboo tubes. It is a type of puto, which is a steamed rice cake. They're grains covered in water and allowed to soak overnight. This gives it an acidic, fermented aftertaste. It's then drained and packed densely into bamboo tubes and steamed, and the sides of the bamboo tubes are coated in like coconut oil. And there you go. Bob's your uncle.
Sounds kind of like the steamed brain. It's a common cooking
the bamboo
technique,
shoot. Yeah.
Apparently. Something I found really interesting about Filipino desserts in general is the use of cheese sometimes. Like, that was just really fun experience.
That was my favorite dish there as well, the one with the grated cheese on top.
Yeah.
Don't know what it was, but man, would love to eat it a million times again.
Oh, so good.
It was so good. Guys, this all just really makes you go, doesn't it?
Yeah, I see some notes here. I'm not looking forward to this.
What the notes say are, end of yummy stuff.
Dun, dun.
And then we get to the real part that I enjoy the most. Buckle in, folks. So here are your holiday traditions. Solodka pod shaboy. This is Russian. It is literally translated into herring under a fur coat.
Oh no.
It is called this because it's made up of diced pickled herring that's layered under diced potato, carrots, beetroot, onions, and mayonnaise, then topped with boiled eggs. It's often fashioned into elaborate designs, and the dish is usually served as a party food on Russian holidays, particularly at Christmas. This one isn't too bad, but apparently people that bring it to parties, it's the pickled herring that is intriguing with the mayonnaise.
That sounds interesting. I don't know. I think I might take a bite. I'd take a bite of that. Just to know what life is. I don't know. I really don't mind fishy things. Like, I do sushi and stuff like that.
Yeah,
so
and I really don't. So the thought of pickled herring is just literally making my skin crawl. I would eat absolutely all the rest of it, the beetroots and the onions, and like everything else sounds absolutely delicious. It's that pickled herring.
Yeah. I've never had a pickled fish before.
Right.
So, interesting. But cured fish is... yeah, not terrible.
All right, smalahave, maybe? This is Norwegian. This is a dish made from a sheep's head, served with potatoes and rutabaga. It is traditionally served the Sunday before Christmas and would be the indulgent meal for the poorer Norwegian population. What makes this dish super interesting is the way that it is prepared. The head of the sheep would be split in two. Once split, the brain would be removed and the pieces are soaked in water for 2 days. Once soaked, the head would be salted, dried, and then smoked. It would then be boiled or steamed until ready to be eaten. The process is also an art. First, the ears and eyes are eaten because they are apparently the best. The meat is then eaten from the skull. You start at the front and you work your way back. Nowadays, only tourists do this nonsense. This is not a traditional thing done anymore.
Oh, that's super funny, but you can walk into like a restaurant that would like do this for you? Apparently,
yeah. It is reserved for tourists and isn't something that would usually be found on a Norwegian Christmas table.
It's like offered in the tourist package? Like, this is
no. Honey, did you click the sheep box button?
Right?
I want the sheep head. Yeah.
Wow. Dark tourist right there. Dark tourism. That's sheephead. I don't know, Shanna.
I know.
I'm very interested about the ears, though.
The ears?
The different pockets of meat throughout.
Everyone always says the cheek is the best part of an animal. It's the face, super tender and delicious.
I find it interesting, but also I could imagine it makes sense that it's for the poor people because it's not the part that usually gets butchered. Would love to go to Norway, but I think I'll skip that.
Okay, Matic. This is a traditional Inuit fare. This is a strip of skin taken from a narwhal or white whale, and the blubber is still attached. It is then carved up and served raw in bite-sized chunks, and they say it tastes like fresh coconut. So that's intriguing.
Like fresh coconut?
Yeah, the blubber of a whale tastes like fresh coconut. And it is often served alongside kiviak. This is a freshly disemboweled seal that is stuffed with up to 500 small Arctic birds. It is then sewn shut and sealed with fat to prevent the flies from getting in. The birds are buried and left to ferment in the carcass for 3 to 18 months. Kiviak is eaten by biting off the bird's head and then sucking out the juices inside. But the birds can also be eaten whole, bones and all.
I would try...
Gosh.
Really? The whale. I would try that, but the kiviak does not sound delightful at all. Mm-mm. Bones and all.
Bones and all. Well, there are those little baby birds that you do eat the whole bird as well. I mean, that's a delicacy.
Right.
Little guys.
I don't know. And like the flavor profiles that you grow up with, like I'm not shaking a stick at this. I'm not. Definitely not. I bet that nothing else in the world tastes like this taste. Is what I'll say.
A very traditional fare. Yeah. And you're like, when I think of Christmas, this is what I think of. And like, you'll always remember that flavor.
Not a flavor I want to try.
Mm-mm.
It's like when in the Philippines, the egg. Like the balut.
Balut.
And
yeah. I didn't. It's one of the things I didn't. I vowed to try everything else, but I was like,
Yeah.
Balut was
and
not one of them.
And we snarked pig intestines.
Right. The face and the ears. We did all of the things, but I couldn't do the bebes. I don't know if I can do this one either. This is omopane worm. These are hand-picked in the wild, often by the women and children in South Africa. When the caterpillar has been picked, it is pinched at the tail end to rupture its innards. The picker then squeezes it like a tube of toothpaste and whips it to expel the slimy green contents of the gut. They are then soaked to rehydrate and then being fried until they're crunchy. Sometimes they're cooked with like onions and tomatoes and then served with sadza, which is like a cornmeal type of firm dough. I had to Google all of these and I started seeing sadza looks good. So apparently the flesh is yellow and the gut is typically might contain fragments of dried leaf, which is not harmful to you, but it might taste of tea leaves.
I mean, that doesn't sound super terrible. I think they get rid of that inner part that's probably like the absolute worst.
I don't know if I could do fried worms.
Fried?
I mean, you put fried and salt and garlic and butter on anything. I mean, you get to a point where anything's anything.
For real. So you deep fry just about anything, and I think we're all okay with it. We could just be, all right.
So those were a bunch of traditional treats from around the world and through all the ages. But I feel that it must be spoken about that humans have not just stopped with the familiar traditions, but we have built new traditions. And we have come up with new modern atrocities that I feel should be highlighted and recognized.
I absolutely love that. I like modern atrocities.
The first one I'm sure many of you have heard of, and it is called the turducken. This is a dish consisting of a deboned duck stuffed into a chicken, stuffed into a turkey. This is a form of gastration, which is a method in which one animal is stuffed into the gastric passage of another. Okay, so if that wasn't bad enough, I found this monstrosity. Buckle in. Turducken. Put down your notes. You're not allowed. Put it down. From here on out, you're not allowed to see your notes.
Okay.
Anymore.
I'm not looking anymore.
Yep.
Turducken.
Dunkin'.
Turducken. Like
Dunkin', like
Donuts.
Dunkin' Donuts. That's right.
Okay.
So this is a turkey that has been brined in orange and strawberry Dunkin' Culottes, which one reviewer called a crappy slushy. So you brine your turkey in this crappy slushy.
So that they're dyed these colors, that the meat is essentially dyed these colors, maybe? Like,
I don't know.
Okay.
But then you're going to stuff this turkey with Dunkin' Donut munchkins, which are donut holes. You're going to then cover it in chocolate sauce and sprinkles, and you're going to serve it with hash browns and coffee gravy, which is also known as red eye gravy, which is ham drippings and black coffee.
That sounds inappropriate. That sounds like a why. Like, what would you do that for? Like, is that real? Like,
And then why
what?
would you put that in your
Why?
mouth?
Would you?
I'm going to stuff a turkey of donuts? I mean, don't get me wrong. Donuts go with everything, but in a turkey? And who does ham drippings and black coffee? Like, that's a thing. Red eye gravy, you Googled that? That's a thing. And that was pretty scary.
That sounds absolutely terrible.
All right, I might give this one a try with these atrocities. Do I have to take your papers away from you?
No, I'm just looking. My brain can't really process like your brain processes. So I see chaos on a piece of paper unless I really focus. So we're good.
Well, it is just chaos on a
Yeah.
piece of paper. Okay, we're going to talk about the Chirpumple. This is a holiday novelty inspired by the turducken
Oh, no.
in 2009. This is where several different flavors of pies are baked inside several different flavors of cake and then stacked together and coated in cream cheese frosting. It's really, really weird. So Chirpumple is short for cherry, pumpkin, and apple pie.
Okay.
All right, so you take an apple pie, a pre-made apple pie, and you bake it inside a spice cake, okay? And then you take the pumpkin pie and you bake it inside a yellow cake, and the cherry pie goes inside a white cake. Now you have 3 cakes with pies inside them. And then you stack those cakes on top of each other and you frost the outside with cream cheese frosting. It is recommended to use boxed or frozen pies, as handmade pies tend to not be as sturdy.
Wow.
Yeah. But don't worry, this is not just a Christmas favorite. You can also enjoy this on the best of holidays, the 4th of July, with the Chirblooble, which is a cherry pie, a blueberry pie, and an apple pie baked into a red, white, and blue colored cakes.
That
That's fun to say, Chirblooble.
sounds patriotic as heck.
It
I guess.
sounds
I don't know.
Diabetes as
what?
heck. Anyone that wants to, you really need to Google these so that you can understand what a pie looks like inside of a cake. It's really interesting. It is inside the cake. You make the batter and you put the pie and you cover it with batter and then you bake the cake.
It's interesting. That's what
Yeah.
I'll say. It's interesting.
Speaking of all of things shoved together into one delicious bite, we are now going to talk about the Christmas dinner. This is a full Christmas dinner inside a tin, hence the tinner. Okay, it's the coffee pot.
That's fair.
Okay, this is a Christmas dinner layered in madness. We're going to start from the top and we're going to go in order, okay? You ready?
No.
We're going to start our Christmas dinner with scrambled eggs and bacon, minced pies, turkey, potatoes, gravy, bread sauce, Brussels sprouts, stuffing, roast carrots or parsnips, and finally, a Christmas pudding, which we have discussed is a cake.
Yeah. And it literally, it's layers in a tin. So you just scrape off the top layer of scrambled eggs and bacon for brekkies. You get in a little snack of those 2 mince pies. And then you're right on into Christmas dinner with turkey
And then
and potatoes and
There's
gravy.
dinner or dessert
It's-
at the end.
And dessert at the end. It's disgusting.
You don't know?
It could be delicious. I'm not going to believe it.
Okay, so I found a really hilarious review from this dude that ate this crap, and here are some of the highlights.
Oh my God. Okay.
Not the entire thing, just some of the highlights.
Okay.
Altogether, it's kind of how I expect dog food to taste, with a hint of festive spice. Just know. Bit by bit, if you take it, the turkey was non-existent in flavor, being overpowered by the gravy and potatoes. A large glass of water is needed for this. Some bits are like pâté, other bits of mashed potatoes with lumps in them. The real vomit-inducing texture has gravy with virtually non-existent in terms of moistening support.
Oh, God.
But was weirdly omnipresent in flavor. So there's no moistness, but a lot of flavor. It has a ghost sensory effect. Things will pop, things will crunch, and you will definitely be breaking up small lumps of potato in your mouth for days. I will never be the same again. My girlfriend wouldn't talk to me for a week after this. And then Heinz has also stepped into the ring with a soup version of a Christmas dinner, and it has large chunks of turkey, vegetables, stuffing, and cranberry in a gravy-like soup. And that is for sale online.
That's interesting, Heinz.
Or it was. I don't know if they're offering it this year. It's like a seasonal promotional thing.
Right. That's like a choice, I guess. That's a choice.
All right, Cece, now at this point you have to tell me which of these of the atrocities. We're not going to go into...
Oh, man. Of the atrocities.
Yeah. Which one? What's your fave? What you gonna try? Would you
like,
try?
So what would I actually try?
Yeah.
Probably the Mattak, but I don't think that it would be culturally appropriate for me to ever try that.
Unless invited by an Inuit.
Correct.
Right.
Is what I'll say for that.
Nor where would we even know where to get that to begin with.
We would have to go on a very cold adventure. I don't think either of us could survive that. Our entire bodies would implode in frost.
My knees would hurt so bad.
Really?
Yeah.
So, I mean, that takes that out of the running.
Come on, turducken.
The pickled herring, probably. I mean, those are... the modern atrocities, like, those actually all sound delightful. I would try all of those.
The turducken?
I would try the turducken. Probably not the turducken. No. I can't even believe that that is real.
I'll do a turpumple.
Heck yeah.
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 That sounds intense.
And the patriotic.
Turblooble.
Turblooble. Because that sounds delightful, too. I love all three of those pies. So.
Yeah. I think it would be fun to do, like, maybe a pecan pie and a pumpkin pie and a apple pie.
Yeah. I feel like I'd have to get a tetanus shot after the Christmas dinner, though. Like, that sounds terrible.
It looked
Potatoes in your mouth for days, bro. Go brush your teeth. Like, what the heck?
You don't have popcorn kernels no matter how many times you brush your teeth.
I get why his girlfriend was like, nah. Nah, I'm good.
So all of these delicious treats, one that is a family tradition in my household, we're Finnish, as I have said earlier, from Finland, and we eat the pfeffernuts.
Yum.
Yeah. So this is a Finnish cookie that is really similar to a Mexican wedding cookie or a pfeffernuss, which are small German Christmas cookies. And those normally have like black pepper and cardamom and cinnamon and cloves and ginger and nutmeg. My cookie is made with crushed walnuts and way less spice. So I shook it up this year and changed the recipe a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The nuts were absolutely delightful in it. It's got like this melting in your mouth quality, but that the nuts like hit your tongue and you're like, ooh, what are these nuggets of little perfectly crunchy nut. And Duff would say your nuts are adequately toasted.
They are. I do toast my nuts.
They are delightful.
Thanks.
I'm sitting right next to one and I kind of want to eat it.
It is your last one, but don't forget we still have a whole tin left as well. So
exciting.
We made our favorite treaties, or I did. Today was my turn to make my family treaties, and then maybe next time Cecilia will bring her family treaties. But what are your family treaties, Cecilia?
So, my first immediate thought when you said, what are your favorite family treaties, was most definitely the Cellas, cherry cordials.
They're so yummy.
Every single Christmas, we always got them. And apparently that this was like just a tradition, like my grandma did this as well. She was super into the cherry cordials. It was always a Christmas time, something special, because they're really, really hard to make. And they come from France.
Mm-hmm.
Where they would take sour cherries and coat them in chocolate. And this is like early 1700s, and it was kind of like to settle your stomach. It was like a little digestive for after your meals, which I think was really, really cool.
And delicious.
Yes, and delicious. The English like to soak their cherries in alcohol.
Yeah,
so like brandy, and then cover them in chocolate. And they were more like a sweet treat after like big festive things. They were brought over to America. We, of course, took the tradition of alcoholic soaked cherries.
We enjoyed that a lot.
Yeah. So we didn't really do the sour cherry. It was more seen as a treat as opposed to a digestive after your meal. Mm-hmm. There are lots of different brands out there, but my family is super, super into Cellas. And when I started looking into Cella, it really made sense that my family loves Cellas because my grandma hails from Indiana, which is really, really close to Chicago, which is where Cella started. And they started making them in 1864. Production started in 1929, like on a mass scale. My grandma was 1921. So it was right around that time. And they were seen as something that was really, really special.
Yeah, that holiday treat and deliciousness.
Definitely.
I love that. And they're delicious.
Yeah, which cherries were another big heckin' thing in my family because we had this cherry pineapple dump cake. That just kind of lived throughout our families, and it's literally diabetes in a 13 by 9 baking dish.
As all holiday treats should be.
Yeah, and it's canned cherries and canned crushed pineapple and walnuts, and then the cake mix is literally just cake mix and
like
the
a
juice.
Yellow.
Yeah, yellow cake mix. So it's just like a dump cake. You literally just mix it, dump it, and bake it. Shredded coconut. It would get like these crispy, crunchy bits.
Ooh, like the pineapple upside down cake kind of gets with the caramelization.
Just so flim-flamin' delightful.
Well,
And
I'm excited to try your family traditions.
yeah, that's my special treat for next week.
I'm going to make some
have
Christmas
some of that.
crack if I find 10 minutes in my life because it's
Good luck
delicious.
with that.
I know.
So those are my
Not a
little
tradition,
family.
just a deliciousness.
Yeah, I love your Christmas crack. It's weird, the saltine crackers.
How does saltine turn into magic?
I don't know.
I do not know. It is alchemy.
The best form.
Cooking is magic and alchemy in general.
It is. Seriously, I love cooking. I find it fascinating. Baking, fermenting foods, making breads. It's wild.
And now
there.
hopefully we have some more ideas, things to try, and have learned about all of the yummy things that we've always liked to eat when we come together with our families to celebrate. And we hope that you have enjoyed listening to our yummy, yummy treats and that you continue to check in with us because we have a few more Christmas episodes coming up.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
Some Christmas trivias and
Fun facts.
and some wild holiday knowledge.
That's really all it is. It's just going to be Christmas fun facts so that you can have lots of conversation starters when you have your family gatherings this year. So.
Actually have some enjoyable conversations.
No politics or religion this year, folks. We're going to have good times Christmas.
Heck yeah.
So from here, from Histories Uncharted, happy holidays, and we'll see you next time.
Goodbye.